Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I'm George. We're all George. So happy Sunday. Today, of course, I want to talk about Bitcoin. What to expect this week, short term, and also what to expect in the future. But I believe Bitcoin's future will shock you. And there's a lot of things happening right now, not just from a price appreciation standpoint, but there are a lot of things brewing behind the scenes. So let's take a look at everything that's going on and what to expect this week. Welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are doing fine this Sunday, wherever you may be. But you know what? Tomorrow starts a new week, and we have to worry about this man once again because he is set on Tuesday and Wednesday talking in front of lawmakers. Again, I don't know what he's going to say. No one does. But people will be eyeing on what comes out, whether or not he has a change of heart, whether or not he indicates that, maybe it's time to be more hawkish, or maybe we need to raise the expectation of where the Fed rate should be, or the Fed fund rate, I should say. We don't know. So we could get some volatility this week. That's for sure. We are already in March. So what does that mean? Well, yes, we still have a few economic data that will be released, and these are important, right? But what's more important is the week after this coming one, we will get another CPI reading. And this will be the last CPI reading before Powell speaks. So this will be huge. So March 14th, so that's after this week, we will get another CPI reading, and I believe that will set the tone for Powell and the remainder of this year. Because the last CPI reading, which came February 14, that measured inflation in January, inflation went down, but barely. It was about even, right? So all eyes will be on the February inflation report, see if it continues to go down or it creeps back up, so that will be coming next week. So this week, Powell will be speaking Tuesday, Wednesday. He has a little bit more data to go off of. For example, labor force, labor's jobless claims, stuff like that, still looking very good, right? So that's something, but the CPI report next week will be absolutely huge. And of course, that's the week before the next FOMC meeting, which is coming up this month. February seemed to have flown by really quickly. Now we're in the trenches. Now it's about to really start because March is when we're going to have this huge FOMC meeting, and we'll set the tone for the remainder of this year. So yeah, this week I think could be calm, could be a little calm, but if Paul says something, maybe not. Well, we will see. But you know what? As for Bitcoin, Bitcoin is still doing its thing. Here's one very interesting: the Bitcoin spiral halving cycle, which it's hard to read, but this is Bitcoin in a nutshell when spiraling upwards, right? The halving events are top quadrant, I guess. And you can see that's when the halving occurs. And then on the right side, the right quadrant is when Bitcoin, where it heads or where it peaks out at after breaking the halving event. That's kind of like how I interpret this. And you can see where Bitcoin right now is in the left quadrant, and it's getting there. It's getting closer and closer to the halving event. And then afterwards, that's when we head upwards and break through 100K. And who knows where the new all-time high is by the time the halving event and the cycle is done, right? So we are still moving according to plan, right? And recently we had a little jitter because of Silvergate. Of course, Silvergate news causing a lot of FUD, and there may be more. Who knows what's going to come out this week? But you look at our current trajectory, our current path, our current recovery from bottom, still very similar to the previous cycle back in 2019 when we were coming up, and you could see bottom formation. Then you have this pre-halving run, right? Then you have this up only, which is after the halving. But that pre-halving run, we haven't really started that yet, right? That doesn't mean that we get back to the previous high. No, normally it means we get, close, but not quite there yet. And this halving run up projects that Bitcoin will be somewhere around 40 to 50,000. And again, some people think it could be as soon as June, but other people think that maybe by the end of this year. If we end up at 50,000 by the end of this year, right, as we're getting closer to having an event next year around March timeframe, so we got 1 year to go, we would be in a very, very good spot. A very good spot, right? So it's just a matter of having a little patience. And of course, other things like addresses, number of holders. I showed you guys a lot of these, right? Continue to go upwards, right? You guys know this. Fundamental of Bitcoin is stronger than ever. Holders, more than ever. Addresses, more than ever. Number of hodled Bitcoin address, more than ever. We're at all-time high for all of these metrics, right? Fundamentals of Bitcoin is stronger than ever. But you know what? I talked about these things, right? Let's talk about some more things. What about Bitcoin's future as a multi-chain or as a DeFi hub or as an NFT hub, right? There are actually a lot of things happening right now behind the scenes. Not a whole lot of people are paying attention to them, with the exception of a few things. But Bitcoin's future could shock all of us because right now we see it as just a store of value, a hedge against inflation, a means of payment, but it could be totally, totally different in the future, right? And this year, so far, we've heard of NFTs and ordinals, right? Starting to really pick up. Galaxy Digital thinks that the NFT market just for Bitcoin could be billions, worth billions just by 2025 alone. And of course, if 2025 is our parabolic run year, then it could blow past this. It could be way, way higher, right? But recently, we got some enthusiasm over ordinals, right? And it's really the first time in Bitcoin's history. It is the first time in Bitcoin's history where you could actually store images on Bitcoin's blocks, right? So this is the very first of something new, right? And because of this, you have a lot of people coming out with NFTs. Yuga Labs is, the guys behind Bored Apes, right? They're going to come out with their 12-fold, which is their version of the very first NFTs from them on top of Bitcoin. So there's just going to be a lot. It's going to really ramp up from here. And I'm sure this collection of 12-fold is going to do really, really, really well. In fact, the auction actually starts today at 3 p.m. Pacific time, which is, what? That's like 5 hours? 5 hours from now? I think this is going to be really hot. Very, very, very hot, right? But again, some of you guys don't care about NFTs. That's okay. My point is this. This is just the start of something new and exciting, and it's definitely bringing a lot more people into this space, right? But it's not just ordinals. We know that, hey, if you can now do NFTs, what about other things, right? What about other things that can be done? Well, that's what Stacks is really all about. Stacks is trying to be a layer 2 smart contracts platform for Bitcoin, right? Right now, Bitcoin does not have its own native smart contracts, but Stacks has been around for years, been growing their ecosystem, and it's starting to get more attention because of ordinals. People are now starting to think, okay, if you have NFTs, what about other things? What about DEXs, right? Can we have DEXs? Can we have bridges? Can we have all the other things, liquidity pools that Ethereum and other chains have? Well, with the help of Stacks, you could. In fact, Stacks has their own swap, a decentralized swap called StackSwap, and it's starting to gain a little attention, and it's got its first centralized exchange listing, right? And that is just really the tip of the iceberg, because there are so many other dApps on top of Stacks that's not relatively known in the space, but there's a lot. StackSwap is now gaining attention, so that's pretty good. Also, you have other things that's happening. You have a project called Threshold, which is basically a bridge for Bitcoin, and they want to bridge Bitcoin to Ethereum and create a synthetic token, TBDC, that allows you to utilize Bitcoin in DEXs, in liquidity pools, liquidity providers. That isn't possible right now. You may be thinking, why do all these DEXs and liquidity pools, how come they don't have a BDC pair? Well, because these bridges don't really exist, but they're starting to be built. So Threshold is another project that is helping with that. Basically, get Bitcoin involved with DeFi. And they're not the only one. There are others that are already doing so, but you know what? It's really the beginning. Here's another project called Riff, which is RSK Infrastructure Framework, which is also kind of like Stacks. They want to bring DeFi and NFTs to Bitcoin's blockchain. They are a smart contracts provider, right? So the competition is starting to creep up. There's a lot of projects that want to get into this space, not only for smart contracts, right, but for NFTs, but also for bridges, right? Cardano itself, a lot of you guys are Cardano fans. Cardano also, major milestone with its first wrapped Bitcoin on the network. Why would you want to wrap Bitcoin on Cardano? For the reason I talked about. So now you can use it within their DEXs and their liquidity pools, right? It's happening. And Avalanche, another project I do like, right? They have a bridge to Bitcoin. These bridges, very, very rare, but there are some that already exist, right? So the future of Bitcoin will probably shock us. Right now, we're at the tip of the iceberg. If you think about it, kind of like Ethereum back in 2017, when it started gaining recognition and all these little things were happening, and we knew about them, but none of them were that popular until 2021, when all of these things that started in 2017 really came to fruition and started exploding, like the NFT market, like the DeFi market, and all the bridges and liquidity and everything else that is very, very huge now, just started in 2017. I kind of get a feeling that's how it is right now. Not to say that everyone believes in this. Not everyone wants all this to happen on Bitcoin, right? But I think you can't stop it. Innovation will come. You can't stop innovation. And if this brings more innovation, more use cases, more people to Bitcoin, well, then I'm a fan for it. All right. So a lot of good stuff happening right now, and we'll get even better in the future. Lastly, I did want to talk about, I know a lot of you guys are VeChain fans, and they just had their Hive conference, and there's a few things that came out of it I want to talk about. First of all, they made a big partnership with Boston Consulting Group. They're one of the largest management consultant groups on the planet with 25,000 employees, 11 billion annual revenue, office in 100 nations. Well, they have partnered up with VeChain to help focus on ESG and SDG, and they want to build a future of sustainability, right? So that's a huge partnership. I don't know the exact details of what they're going to do, but I'm thinking they could track a whole bunch of stuff utilizing the VeChain Thor chain, right? So that's one of the big things that came out. Also, VeChain is doing something called VeChain as a service. It sounds like like you could just run your own node and chain without any, it could be like a sub chain, right? Without any coding involved, right? More info will come in the next few weeks. Maybe they'll partner up with AWS or Google Cloud, right? Something like that. Or maybe they'll power their own cloud. But that's what it sounds like. That's also pretty exciting. But in addition to that, there are they released a roadmap. There's a lot of other things that they're working on right now. A DNS naming system, kind of like ENS, right? But for VeChain, digital ID implementation, ETH token bridge, okay? More DEX and DeFi protocols, smart contract development framework integration, that web service portal, and even a DAO framework. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that VeChain's working on right now. So pretty exciting stuff. And plus, they were part of UFC, and UFC just had a huge fight too. So good for them. So some good news out of VeChain for those of you guys that are still VeChain fans. And then as for Bitcoin right now, 22.4, just slightly higher, still, trending upwards, but very, very slowly. There's still a lot of hesitation right now to get back into Bitcoin, a lot of hesitation because of FUD and Powell and everything else. But, the future is bright. All right, let's do some Q&A. I heard John Jones won again as a heavyweight. He packed on like 40 pounds, and he has a huge gut, and he still won. That shows how dominant he is. I didn't watch the fight or anything, but I just read about it. Yeah, he does not look the skinny, cut self as before. Let's see here. Ivan says, we don't get notifications anymore of live streams. Did something change? No. YouTube has this problem where they just, their notification system either breaks or people just get unnotified. So I don't know why. I hear about it all the time from people. So unnotify and re-notify. That's the only thing I could say. Yeah, but that seems to be a problem. That's why I post on Facebook and Twitter now. So you can use those as double or triple notification systems. Let's see. Random tutorial asks, are ordinals worth it? I think they will be in the future. You think about the very first Bitcoin NFTs in 20, 30, 50 years. Let's say the NFT market is blooming on Bitcoin, right? I mean, you got to figure the ordinals are going to be like, they're the OG. They're going to be worth infinite amount, I think. I haven't looked into how much they cost or how difficult it is to get them, but you got to figure in the future they will be worth something. If you could have a bro day with Powell, what would you do? Game basketball, test out cool cars, eat steak, or drink some whiskey. I think Powell. I think he looks like the type of guy that would enjoy hunting or something. Although I'm not a hunter, but to me, I don't know. I get that vibe from him. But I also feel like he would enjoy a good glass of whiskey. So I'd probably do that. I don't know about other things, but I would love to pick his head on a few things. I mean, I think there's a lot of questions that he knows he can't answer, and he doesn't know if he can solve, right? I think there's a lot of basic fundamental things that that I would love to ask him, but I know he can't give a good response. He can't solve it because that's not even really his thing. Like when he was asked during the last press conference about the debt ceiling, he just said, "Yeah, I think they should raise it." Right? Like, but if you press him on it, like, well, if you keep raising the debt ceiling, doesn't that mean the U.S. is just not responsible with this money? You know, stuff like that. He just doesn't want to talk about because he knows the truth, but he can't do anything about it. If you had to choose proof of work or proof of stake chains, what would you pick? That's never something I think about when I get into a project, whether it's proof of work or proof of stake. So, Matt C, 17 months together through thick and thin. Glad you're still here. We had some good times in 2021. We had some bad times in 2022. In 2023, we're having a so-so time. So-so time is okay. We'll take that after a really bad time. But next year, and the year after that, I think it'll be really good. But this year is recovery year. I do think we have a really good chance to recover significantly by the end of the year. 40, 50,000, I say that's certainly possible. And then we build from there in 2024. Real estate tokenization, I think it's just way too early. Way too early for that. Would I take a Lucid over a i8? Yes. i8 is garbage. But I don't know. Lucid, I don't know if they're going to survive. I honestly don't think they're going to survive. They don't sell any cars. They sell a few thousand cars a year. And they're very expensive cars. There's no way Lucid is surviving. I don't think there's any chance. I've been in crypto since 2013. Not completely all the way through. I did get out in 2014 and didn't come back until 2017, but I got in 2013. What are your thoughts on Hedera? It's a good L1. Let's just leave it at that. It's a good L1 with a lot of characteristics that other L1s have, right? It took them a while, but they became open source. They added smart contracts. They have tokenization, right? They do have DeFi, but it's very early. So I'll just leave it at that. Are there annuities on a blockchain yet? No. Why would you want annuities on a blockchain? No. There's staking, and there is still decentralized lending, which could give you those, get you a little bit of interest if that's what you're looking for. But honestly, the staking into these chains, they give you some pretty good returns. That's what you're looking for. George, I miss your house blogging. Yeah, a lot of people say that. Yeah, I was doing really good too. I may do it. I may do it again. I may do one this week just to kind of show some of the stuff that I'm excited about on the inside because the house has been progressing um, since I stopped the videos, but it's doing pretty good. So I may kick it up again on the I Am George channel. Man, I was at the casino last night until like 2:30. So I didn't get much sleep. But I won over $2,000 in craps. I've been telling you guys I got hooked into craps and I've been killing it every time I play. And the night before I went to the casino and I made $800. I made like $3,000 in craps in a couple of days. But it's tiring. Craps, if you understand how to play craps, is the best casino game. It's like there's no competition. You realize playing blackjack and roulette and baccarat or anything else really sucks after you know how to play craps. Do you think this is the last like down all the bears are talking about? You know what, Joel Adams? I don't really pay attention to these last legs or certain points that Bitcoin has to hit before it goes up because it's all speculation. If it comes true, great. If it doesn't mean anything. So it doesn't really matter to me. I don't pay attention to that. I know where Bitcoin's going to go in the future. That's the only thing that's important. ZK rollup route is going to be a long-term solution for Polygon. I think it's the long-term solution everyone is aiming for. Polygon is going to be the very first with ZK EVM, which scales Ethereum's virtual machine. No one else is doing that right now, or no one else has a solution for that. Everyone else is just using ZK rollup for privacy or for scaling of the main chain, but not for smart contracts, which Polygon already has. It's in testnet. It'll be in the mainnet soon. I think that's going to be pretty significant. But everyone is using ZK rollups. It's a proof system where basically it processes all this stuff behind the scenes and then just tells you if it's yes or no, basically, whether or not it's proven. That's like an oversimplification, but I think that's what the future will be for scaling. I'm not a big fan of Mina. It's just I don't know. There's a lot of not. It's just very different. The snapshots. It's a snapshot chain, so that means it can't really scale, and it can't really. You can't really dig old data easily because they're archived off. So there's some inherent problems or I don't know, problems, issues with it. Yeah, if you're playing craps, always always play the line, right? Always play the line, and then if you're just starting out, you want to see how hot people are, just play 6 and 8. But man, I went with a friend yesterday, and we've been playing a little bit, but he went on the hottest roll ever, ever. He rolled literally for 30 minutes, and I was betting on base every number because he just hit everything. Tens and fours pay out really well, although I don't play fours, but tens pay out really well. And then if you put like $5 on the small, tall, and all, he hit tall twice and then hit a all. I mean, within that same 30 minutes, it's crazy the payouts, right? And I only put $5. Some people put like $25 on it. the all pays 175 to 1, and then the smalls, I forgot, they're like 34 to 1 or 35 to 1. He just went on a crazy run, and I had a good run, and someone else had a good run. That's the awesome thing about craps. So even if you have bad luck, if someone else has good luck, it benefits everyone at the table, and you could just sit there and just reap the benefits forever. Now, if you're at a table where everyone has bad luck, this is a different story. But usually, after a few rounds, someone gets hot, really hot. Anyways, enough about craps. Have I looked into Veracity? Yes. Still not a fan of it. Been buying Gala like crazy. Seems like a safe 100x. I don't know about that. It is very, very low. Can it come back to its previous highs, like a 10x? Yes. I don't know about a 100x. You think Ren will hit all-time high again? I've never been a fan of Ren, so I don't know. It probably will. A lot of projects in the next bull run will come back up and break through its previous high. But it's not really about that. It's about holding on projects that are the fastest horses in the race, right? You want to look at what will move faster in the next coming bull run. It's hard to predict sometimes, but sometimes they're not. On the big, well-known project that's very backed, right, that has a lot of developments, have a great team, they tend to do the best, right? All right, guys. I'll let you go. Overall, the future of Bitcoin is bright. It's not just because of the halving event, but there's a lot of developments happening right now with DeFi, with bridges, with NFTs, with DEXs, everything, right? So the future will shock us all. All right, have a good one, guys. I'll have a weekly recap video for you guys tonight, and I'll see you guys tomorrow bright and early, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.